What's going on, everybody out in YouTube land, and welcome back to a new episode of GBA. In this episode we are going to be looking at my recent game pickups. So it's been a little while since I've done one of these, a lot longer than what I originally intended, but to be completely honest with you guys, I have not been purchasing as many games as I used to. I've still been picking up quite a few games, but just not the quantity that I was, even 6 months ago or so. I'm sure a lot of you guys are collectors out there, so you know as well as I do that eventually space can become an issue, and that is something that is happening to me currently, and I'm a little bit unsure what I want to get rid of in my game room to make room for more video games. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to buy video games, I'm just kind of slowing down a little bit because I just don't have the space. But yeah, without further ado, guys, I do still have quite a few games here since it's been a few months since I've done this, so I am going to move through this pretty quickly, but I will stop and talk about some of the games if I recommend them or if I have something to say about them. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started with the handheld systems like I usually do, and we'll get this thing rolling. So first up, the lone Game Boy Color game that I got is 720. So yeah, that is the only Game Boy Color game, and it's not really that good of one. Alright, so moving on to original Game Boy, we have Boxel, Superman, Kirby's Block Ball. There are a whole bunch of Kirby games on the Game Boy. I have most of them, but I'm still missing a few. We've got Battleship, WWF King of the Ring. Anything with Bret Hart on it is a good thing to me. I loved Bret Hart back in the 90s. WWF Superstars 2. This is one of my favorite Game Boy wrestling games I've ever played. So if you guys haven't, check that game out. Alright, so next stack of Game Boy games here. Fantastic game. Plays just like the NES games, really. If you guys haven't played this series, you definitely should. We have Adventure Island 2. So much fun. The only thing I don't really like about a lot of those games is how your life bar continuously goes down. I'm not the biggest fan of that. We have Dead Heat Scramble, DuckTales. So much fun. I love this one and the NES games. So much fun. Dr. Franken. This plays a lot like the Adventures of Dr. Franken on Super Nintendo, so if you like that game, you'll probably like this one too. I don't know how to say this game still, but we have Heinke Alien, which appears to be some sort of a puzzle game. Didn't know this game existed. We have David Crane's The Rescue of Princess Blobette. From what I can tell, it plays very similar to the NES game. World Bowling. And last but not least, we have Speedy Gonzales, which ironically enough reminds me a lot of a Sonic the Hedgehog game. 2D platformer, just really fast, kind of in that same vein as Sonic the Hedgehog. Alright, so next up, I guess, let's go ahead and let's do some Nintendo Switch games, since that's kind of a handheld system. Oh, I am dropping stuff. Alright, so for the Switch, we have Nickelodeon Kart Racers. It's really not a bad kart racing game. I do wish that it had more of a diverse roster, but you could do a lot worse. From Limited Run Games, we have The Missing, J.J. Macfield, and the Island of Memories. I haven't opened this, so I do not know anything about this game. Same thing with this one, it's still sealed. We have Brigadine, The Legend of Renusia, which is a limited run game. We have Street Outlaws: The List. A really fun game and something, a sequel that people have been looking for a long time. We have Streets of Rage 4. Definitely not as good as the first two games in my opinion, but it's still worth a playthrough for sure. Bee Simulator. Ghostbusters the video game remastered. This is basically like the PS3 and Xbox 360 version from what I can tell. And to be honest with you, it's worth the cutscenes to play this. A lot of people consider it basically like the third movie in the franchise. We've got a double pack. We've got Galak Z and Skull of the Shogun. Rico. A game that's still sealed from limited run that I don't know anything about. We have Shadowgate. Into the Dead 2. So from what I can tell, this started out as a mobile game, and when you play this, you can definitely tell it's a mobile game. It's kind of like an endless runner, except you're shooting zombies. If you have like 10-15 minutes and you're up for some mindless fun, this is a good game to pop in and play, in my opinion. Alright, so that is our Switch games that I added to the collection over the last couple months. A lot of those came from limited run games, the rest came from GameStop. So next up, let's go ahead and let's show the Atari 2600 games that I picked up. I just recently did a video on these. I haven't had any Atari 2600 games in the collection in a few years, so it's been really fun playing these, hooking up my Atari 2600 again to the CRT TV, and just enjoying some of these games. Alright, so first up we have Superman. Pitfall, which is a classic. Subscan. This is an arcade classic right here. Really, really fun on the 2600 as well. We've got Cubert. Sword Quest. We've got Space Invaders. A really good Atari 2600 game. One of the best ones on the system. We've got Yar's Revenge. Arcade classic right here. We've got Missile Command. One of my favorite games when I was a kid. We have another arcade classic, Defender. This actually plays pretty good on the 2600. My favorite Atari 2600 game of all time, we've got River Raid. Fantastic two-player game. Combat. Next up we have Codebreaker. Somebody in the comments section of my Atari 2600 video told me that you needed a special controller to play this game, which makes a ton of sense because I couldn't get this game to do anything but turn on pretty much. And for the Intellivision, we have Donkey Kong. That is the only Intellivision game that I picked up. I think the guy thought it was a 2600 game because it came in the lot with the 2600 games. But still, nonetheless, cool to get Intellivision game, Donkey Kong. Alright, so moving right along, let's go ahead and show some GameCube games next. Did not pick up a whole lot of GameCube games. As a matter of fact, I think all these came from subscription boxes pretty much. But we've got Over the Hedge. SpongeBob SquarePants Creature from the Krusty Krab. I swear there's like 5 or 6 SpongeBob games on the GameCube. It must have just been like a popular thing back then to put SpongeBob games out on everything like crazy. We've got Bomberman Jitters, or Jitters. This game is a whole lot of fun, especially if you like arcade style sports games. We have Freestyle Street Soccer. Kind of reminds me a lot of the FIFA Street, NFL Street, NBA Street games. I think you could only get this at Blockbuster back in the day, but I could be wrong. We've got Shrek Extra Large. And last up, we've got Splinter Cell Double Agent. So yeah, like I said, not too many GameCube games, but some decent stuff in there to add to the collection. Alright, so moving right along, let's go ahead and let's show some of the systems that I picked up like 1 or 2 games for over the last few months. For the original PlayStation, we have Space Jam. I've been feeling really nostalgic here lately for the original Space Jam movie. Maybe it's because of all the talks of the new Space Jam movie that's coming out or whatnot. I knew that they released this on the PlayStation, and I think it was on Sega Saturn as well. So I wanted to pick it up. It plays a lot like NBA Jam, to be honest with you, just not as good. There's also a bunch of mini games that you can play. It's not a bad game at all. It's just something that, you know, it's probably just going to set in the collection for the most part. I'm not going to play it too much, but still happy to have Space Jam. I got it for really cheap too. So for the Wii, I didn't know this game existed, and I loved this series back in the Nintendo 64 days. And on the arcade machines back in the day, but we have Cruisin' for the Wii. So basically this is in the same series as Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, and Cruisin' Exotica. I haven't played this yet. Let me know if you guys have. Does this live up to the classics? I would love to hear y'all's opinions on it. I do plan on playing it sometime very soon though. Speaking of arcade machines, I loved the original arcade game for this. But for the Wii, we have Jambo Safari Animal Rescue. But Jambo Safari was so much fun in the arcades. I don't see the arcade machines around at all anymore, to be honest with you. And I know that the game is not emulated too well, but if you guys have a chance, please play Jambo Safari. It's definitely a little bit different, but I love that game. So I wanted to pick this up when I found out that this game came out on the Wii. So I was stressed out about getting this game, to be honest with you. So basically, we've got Shakedown Hawaii for the Wii U. So as a lot of you guys know, I have a complete Wii U set. So these limited companies that put out limited edition games keep on releasing some Wii U games. Limited Run did Axiom Verge, which I got. And then The Blank did Shakedown Hawaii. I think this is going to be the final physical Wii U game. At least I hope so. I plan on keeping this one sealed because I've got Shakedown Hawaii on several systems, so I can play this game if I want to. So I don't really have no plans of opening this. But happy to get this and keep my North American set complete. So last up, a pretty uncommon Sega CD game, and pretty expensive too. That's why I went with a loose disc. We've got the Terminator for Sega CD. So yeah, I got a good deal on the loose disc for this game, so I just grabbed a DVD case and printed out some artwork, and you know, looks good on the shelf this way. And I'm happy to have Terminator in my collection. So Terminator and Demolition Man are really fun action platformers on the Sega CD with really good soundtracks, so you guys should definitely give them a play if you haven't. Alright, so next up, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some Nintendo 64 games. I didn't get a whole lot of Nintendo 64 games, but I got some pretty good stuff here. A lot of this came from either Limited Run or Retro Game Treasure. But we've got FIFA 64, Nagano Winter Olympics 98, a really bad game, but I'm happy to have it. We've got Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I tried to play this, but I just cannot get into this game. We've got Bass Hunter 64. Knockout Kings 2000. Really, really fun rally racing game. We've got Top Gear Rally 2. I love rally racing games. Speaking of rally racing games, another really fun one. We have Rally Challenge 2000. And a pure classic, and one that, you know, I've had several times, but I got rid of it, and I'm happy to have it back in the collection. We have GoldenEye 007. This basically started the love for first-person shooters on console systems. Also, local multiplayer was great for this game. But yeah, happy to get that, and it's fun playing that and reliving some of my childhood memories. Alright, so next up, let's go ahead and let's show some Super Nintendo games, and then we'll finish with the NES. Alright, so first up, we have NBA All-Star Challenge. Dragon's Lair. A really, really fun game. I love breakout style games. We have Arkanoid Do It Again. A game I really wanted to like because I love side-scrolling beat-em-ups, but this one was very repetitive. I don't know if it gets better later in the game, but we've got The Tick. I'm still really happy to have it, but like I said, it was one that I wanted to like more than what I did. We have Super Bases Loaded. Wild Snake. Wizardry 5. And two games that I've been wanting to add for a while that I finally picked up. We have Big Sky Troopers. And a fantastic action game for the Super Nintendo. We have Super Turrican. So yeah, like I said, not a whole bunch of Super Nintendo games, but I got a couple really good ones that I've been wanting for a while, so I'm happy to add those to the collection. Alright, so last up, let's move on to my favorite system of all time, the NES. So first up, a game that got famous from the Angry Video Game Nerd, but it's not as bad as he says it is. We've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Still not a great game, but definitely not the worst game you'll play on the system, that's for sure. Knight Rider. Flying Dragon, The Secret Scroll. I was having a lot of fun with this game. I'd never played it before I bought it, but you guys should give it a try if you haven't. We've got Image Flight. Another really fun puzzle platformer. We've got the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle. A little repetitive, but it's still fun. We've got Rollerball. I am not the biggest fan of video pinball on the NES. The physics just are not that good. Alright, so next up, we've got Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge. A game that I really need to try to clean up a little bit. We've got Laser Invasion. Fisher-Price, I Can Remember. I'm missing one out of the 3 Fisher-Price games now, so I'm getting close to completing that subset for the NES, even though I will never play these games. But, you know, happy to have them nonetheless. And then finally, probably the most uncommon game that I've picked up over the last couple months, and it's for the NES, we have the Jetsons Cogswell Caper. So I must admit, this game has a pretty bad label on it. If you guys have watched many of my videos, you know I'm not really particular about that, to be honest with you. But this game looks pretty bad. But I got this for about 65% off what it usually goes for. And I wanted this game in the collection. I'm going for a complete NES set, so I needed a legitimate version of this game. So if I can pick this up for 65% off, I'm going to do it every day. So what I did was I didn't really want to put a reproduction label on the actual cart. So I just got one of these clear box protectors. I bought a reproduction label and I just put it on the box protector. And you know, on the shelf, it looks really good. You can read the spine, you know what it is. And I didn't have to put anything fake on the actual cart. So it definitely worked out good and looks good on the shelf. And if you guys watched my last pickup video, you know I got a pretty rough copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters as well for about 60-70% off what it usually goes for. But I did the same thing. Put in a clear box protector and put this reproduction label on the actual box protector, and it looks great on the shelf. And I got 2 games for the collection that go for a decent amount of money for pretty cheap. So I will do that every single day. And to be honest with you, most of my games with bad labels, I'll probably be doing this to all of them in the near future. But yeah, guys, that is my pickups over the last couple months. Let me know down below what you guys thought about that stuff. What was your favorite game that I picked up? What have you picked up recently? What are you playing? I would love to have a little conversation with you guys about the video games that you're playing and that I'm playing down in the comments section. But I think I'm going to end this video. But first I want to say thank you so much for watching this episode of GBA. If you haven't, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out tremendously. If you guys know anybody who might like this kind of content, please share the video around. I'm always looking to grow the channel a little bit. But I think I'm going to go open up some boxes, maybe play some of these video games, try to enjoy the rest of my evening. I hope you do too. So until next time, everyone, I'll see you later.